Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. So in case you haven't heard, if you're a Resident Evil fan, then chances are you're excited that the previous installments of the live action films are not only dead and gone, but we have more to look forward to in terms of having brand new movies be directed by brand new people, but also a Netflix adaptation of what is supposed to be a Resident Evil series set to take place within the Spencer Mansion itself. And as exciting as some of this news may come to a lot of people, it turns out that there were leaks put out there giving us an overall synopsis of what this upcoming Resident Evil Netflix adaptation would look like, and according to what's being put out there, it doesn't look to be good. If anything, this might turn out to be a bit worse, or at least on par to the live action films we've seen be directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Now, none of these following rumors have been further confirmed by Netflix or Constantine Films, but according to BloodyDisgusting.com, the overall synopsis of the upcoming Resident Evil Netflix adaptation reads as follows. The first comes from a Brazilian fan site called Resident Evil Database, who apparently contacted Netflix's press office in Brazil for information. The response was this synopsis, and I quote, "The city of Clearfield, Maryland has long lived under the shadow of three seemingly disconnected entities: Umbrella Corporation, the now retired Greenwood Asylum, and the federal capital, Washington. Now, 26 years after the discovery of the T-virus, the secrets kept by the trio are beginning to surface, with the first signs of the epidemic." The other story comes from a now redacted story by Splash Report, which reported that the series will focus on Jade and Billy Wesker, who are half-sisters and the daughters of the series antagonist Albert Wesker. If this is indeed the case, those looking for an adaptation that follows the games themselves will be out of luck, as neither character has any prior inclusion in the game series. Now, to give you my 2 cents in all of this, if this ends up being the case and this Resident Evil series actually ends up being a thing on Netflix to where everything that you heard ends up being confirmed within the series itself, then this series is bound to fail, because one of the main reasons why a lot of people love Resident Evil and they go back to the original games such as 1, even the remake, 2, 3, 4, hell, even 5, 6, and 7, is the fact that a lot of these Resident Evil stories have a good narrative and it's based on survival horror. Now, right off the bat, one must ask the question as to, number 1, why are we in Clearfield, Maryland? Number 2, why does Wesker have 2 daughters all of a sudden, Jade and Billy Wesker? And number 3, if he's said to be this decrepit old man who is supposed to come off like a genuine father figure only to have his dark secrets be revealed, then what in the hell is the overall direction if all of this is supposed to take place 26 years after the initial events of Raccoon City and the Umbrella Corporation having to spill its virus within the city itself? None of that seems to make any sense at all. And if this is going to be adapted and featured as an actual show within Netflix, then the ratings are going to go down into the shitter, because one of the main reasons why so many people hated the live action movies was because Paul W.S. Anderson not only wanted to include his wife in essentially every single movie by playing as a character that never existed within the games themselves, but also the movies themselves lacked an in-depth story and overall connection to the characters, which made the films themselves very empty and very boring to watch. Now, to me, I don't think that the overall synopsis of this Netflix adaptation is true. I don't think that Netflix has leaked any information nor confirmed anything of the sorts, but if this ends up being true, then this is going to be a total disaster. And a lot of Resident Evil fans that have been here since the beginning want to see at least a decent product. I mean, the best thing we can get is a good movie that translates from the video games, and a good example of that was Sonic, right? People have praised Sonic the Hedgehog for being one of the only movies that adapted through the form of a video game the right way, so by having Netflix adapt this shouldn't really be that much of a difficult task in keeping everything grounded in being the same as the games while still trying to follow a different formula per se. But with this information having to be released, I think that a lot of people can either agree on A, that this is going to be a total total disaster given the fact that this takes place way after the incident of Raccoon City, and 26 years later. Why 26 years later, you know? So with the second being, if this doesn't end up being the overall synopsis slash leaks for the story, then there's hope for this thing actually being very good, especially to those that have been with Resident Evil since the beginning. So in hindsight, no, if this ends up being the case, then your series is going to fail. It's going to fail because it's going to appeal to a casual audience that really isn't going to give you any retention in going back to watch this series over and over again as would a hardcore fan. So thus, if they were to neglect their hardcore fans, the paying customer that will give them retention in always coming back and watching the show, buying the merchandise, and supporting the property by doing anything as a means of support, then if they were to stray away from that concept in appealing just to the casual audience, in having to basically come up with a very convoluted and half-assed story, then this entire thing is going to fail. We don't want to see another Paul W.S. Anderson retelling of what Resident Evil isn't, right? Because this does not sound like Resident Evil. Resident Evil grounded itself originally on mystery, on horror, on character build-up and development, right? It really shouldn't be that hard to have a Netflix series basically start off in the Spencer Mansion and then later carry itself through within Raccoon City. Can you imagine how amazing it would actually be to see, perhaps maybe, and this might be a stretch, Season 4, Season 5, or Season 6 kicking things off with us inside of Raccoon City? Leon S. Kennedy, Claire, Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, the whole gang just being there, Nemesis, the Lickers, the Hunters, the Tyrants, the Zombies, Mr. X, the horror behind the overall destruction of Raccoon City. They could easily base a few seasons off of the Spencer Mansion and allowing Barry Burton, Albert Wesker, and the gang to venture out into the Spencer Mansion and basically have that stretch out until they get to Raccoon City. But no, instead, we're going into Maryland, and apparently the Umbrella Corporation is located in Washington, D.C., and even though Umbrella had released its virus 26 years ago, 26 years later, they're still dabbling within the events of what happened during that time, right? I mean, the zombies are still around. How are they not eroded? How are they not basically just corpses at the end of the day on the ground, just immobilized from all these years of not being able to feed? So nothing seems to make any sense, and on top of that, Wesker having 2 daughters is a complete retcon to the original, right? Because according to Resident Evil 6, Wesker has a son, right? Jake, and it took a while for so many people to basically accept that, but overall, by the end of the day, it was accepted. But now here, he has Jade, he has Billy, and basically these girls' characteristics are, one of them comes off super annoying, but yet at the same time super feministic in nature, while the other one is like a renegade. So none of this is adding up, none of this is making sense, and if they follow through with this, then we might as well just see the cancellation of the show, because nobody is going to watch it other than people that are clueless about the show. Now, you don't have to have single-handed hardcore fans just watch your product. You have to also appeal to the casuals, right? But what a horrible way to grasp in those that have no idea what Resident Evil is by having to basically dabble in a story that never even happened in the original source material to begin with. So in the end, I want to get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below about this. If you guys are stoked, ready, and excited to see this, if some of you guys probably have a different opinion, probably some of you guys watching this right now are absolutely pissed, and that's fine. You have every right to be angry, because it really shouldn't be this much of a problem to take a concept like Resident Evil, which in its entirety is very simplistic in a way. You have zombies, you have a corporation behind the virus that, you know, caused all the zombies to come about. You have a few characters that have great build-up and great lore, and you're trying to dabble within the mysteries of what the heck is going on while still keeping the roots of what you're telling grounded on horror, not action, not comedy, not suspense, or, you know, romance, but strictly on horror. So I want to get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. If you guys believe that all of these supposed leaks and the synopsis for this is probably fake, or if you guys want to take that with a grain of salt, let me know. Or if you guys think that this is everyone's worst nightmare and it's actually going to be a thing, then I want to know in the comment section as to how you guys would fix this, because the movies were complete garbage, and based on the overall synopsis and leaks for the TV series, it just doesn't seem to appeal at all. But I want to know if you guys agree or disagree with the overall direction here. Thank you all so much for your time once again, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Tune back in for more. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up if you're simply a Resident Evil fan. And I want to get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Again, thank you all so much for your time, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.